Hello, my friends. So today I've got something a little bit different for you. This is an interview, more of a question and answers, filmed by my friend Patricia. She's a model from the United States in Connecticut. She's created a podcast that she wanted me to be on, and she had some questions about the Dark Night of the Soul. So I put this here mainly so that it may serve you in case some of the questions that she had were the same that you might be having through this experience. Unfortunately, I can't put the theme song to her Pattycast intro in, so you've got my voice to deal with because it's copyrighted. So that'll do. Enough for the video. You can find our links down below to share some love and support with her because she's just getting started. And hopefully this video, although the production quality isn't that great, hopefully it helps at least some of you. Thank you very much and enjoy the video.
Today, I interview Jamie Monday. He has experienced a Kundalini awakening and the Dark Night of the Soul, and he really gives such great insight on what's happening spiritually. You can find him at spiritualawakeninghelp.com and check out his YouTube channel, which I will put below. So if you have questions on the Dark Night of the Soul, please continue to watch.
Great.
Yes, I've been probably starting this year experiencing a lot of synchronicities. It's probably why it's driven me to this call, but I started watching your videos when I was going through the Dark Night of the Soul, and one of your videos, actually recently I watched it a couple days ago, where you said during your Dark Night of the Soul you were Googling like how long is this gonna last? I did the same thing, and that's how I came across your videos. You know, there could be multiple, or what it even is. And I was like, oh no, because I want to get out of this so bad.
Are you still in it?
I think I'm coming out of it. I'm definitely coming out of the worst of it. I was reading a book called Spiritual Liberation, and it talks about how the Dark Night of the Soul is you're no longer who you used to be, but you're not yet who you will become. So yeah. I'm definitely not the same person. Actually, a question that I wanted to ask you, is it something that in the moment when I'm seeing or sensing the synchronicity, is it something that I should be paying attention to in that moment, or just does it mean in general that, you know, you're doing the right thing? Because that's what I think it means.
I can only go from my own experience, and yes, I think it means both sometimes, because sometimes I'll have an inkling or a thought that's coming up, and then I'll look at a synchronicity that would be representational of the other side of that thought. You know, me and you are alike in some ways in that we go to Google to try and find our answers, and that's probably what you've been doing, right? Right. But even with the synchronicities, you can get even with that and go, oh, what does this mean? 999. What's 1111 mean? Have you done that?
Yeah. No, I've done I've researched everything.
And it can drive you crazy, right? Because there's so many different. 1111 means you're going to have a great day, or 1111 means make a wish. What? These aren't the same things, you know? Right. So, always, of course, it needs a pinch of, take these things with a pinch of salt, but usually your intuition is dead on with it, you know? Because sometimes I used to see synchronicities that meant what I'd read they meant, and had a thought that corresponded to the meaning that I'd read that it meant at the same time. Does that make sense? Let's say the number 1111 set, I know it doesn't mean this, but let's say it says 1111 means you're going to have a great day, right? Okay. If you do this, for example. I might have a thought that says I should act on my passion, and then see 1111. We then see that the thought I should act on my passion means I'm going to have a great day if I do that thing. You make sense?
Right.
So yes. I have had experiences like that. Whether it means that or not, I don't know. Mm-hmm. For me, in general, I just take it to mean that, yeah, something's guiding me. I'm seeing these as a reflection of my desire to know that I'm supported by life. So and that's
my biggest thing now is I know I have good intuition. I know that it's there, but not sure what to do with the information, kind of thing.
How are you determining what is the intuition and what's the ego?
Yes, I get confused. Is this just my, like, for an instance, like a person, if I get like, the person is fun, is great to be around, but I just get like a weird like vibe,
so there's two
does that
things
mean
then.
I just cut that person out? Like, what does it mean to do with it?
Well, it doesn't matter what you do, because you'll learn either way. But if you do cut them out, you might see, actually, that could have been something in me from my past that I thought was intuition, but was actually just a past wound that this person's reflecting to me. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if I cut them out, then I'm the dick.
Yeah.
Because they've done nothing wrong, you see. What would be the indicators for you that it was the clients ask me this all the time, but what would the indicators be for you that it might be ego or it might be intuition?
It's just a different feeling, and
it is a different feeling.
It's hard to describe, but I did get that feeling. I think I'm nervous now, and this is where my mind comes in, is that because I didn't listen to my intuition about my past relationship, it forced me to listen I literally was depressed. It's like, okay, you don't want to listen. We're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger.
Force you to listen. Yeah,
we're going to force you to listen. And I am avoiding that happening. So anytime I get some sort of that feeling, I don't want it to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. So I'm like, okay, should I just leave now? So that's when like the mind comes in, starts getting worried. And the ego actually will pretend to be the intuition sometimes.
Yes, it will. Yes, absolutely true. All the time.
And so now it's like, so I'm still through meditation, I'm still learning, oh, okay, this is right. And I think the strategy that I use is what feels right here.
Yeah, that's right. It's a feeling thing. If it feels tight, it's the ego for sure. Mm-hmm. If it feels like we've been wronged or like someone might be lying and it feels tight or whatever it is, it's the ego for sure.
Yeah.
If it feels light and breezy and like, I just got that little intuitive nugget from my higher self. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me. Then it's the intuition. If it's light, it's intuition. If it's tight, it's definitely ego. If it's tight and wants you to force somebody away from you, it's ego. If it's light and it still has the same how can I
it's so hard to put labels on these things.
It is, yeah. So let me give you an example from my life. I had a friend that was a compulsive liar, right? And I'd get the intuition that he was a compulsive liar, and it just came out like that, and it was light and breezy, and then from there I knew, okay, fine, I can stop talking to him if I don't want to talk to him or whatever. But I've also had experience where I think that people are lying, or I think, I don't know whether I like you, and this feels tight inside, and it's ego, definitely ego then. And I've still done the same action and pushed them away, but then I'm the dick rather than the other way around, in which case we've seen, okay, I've got some information that's come through for me that is right, and then whether I want to do what I want to do with that is up to me.
Right. Yeah. I think anything that is, I've been listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks. I don't know if you know her or him. It's a collective being that,
right?
Yeah, speaks through a woman named Esther Hicks. And she talks about being in the vortex and being out of the vortex. And so when you're in the vortex and somebody's in the vortex with you in line, it's so easy. It feels like the flow. It feels like, you don't even have to think about it. Sometimes you don't even notice you're in it because you're in it. You're not thinking about it. And that way, when you're in it, things naturally fall out. Things naturally fall away that are not supposed to be in it or that don't flow in it. But when you're trying to put things together and pieces together and force it, it's too, you feel that like conflict, because you're trying to fit something in a box that doesn't fit. And that's when that like conflict in me starts.
That right feeling comes.
Yeah, the tightness. It's super interesting. I mean, our emotions are a guidance system, so it's super important for me to listen to it.
Yeah, me too. I like Abraham Hicks because she talks about alignment as well, doesn't she?
Yeah.
You know, when we're in and out of alignment, you know, when we went into dynamic stillness, do you remember that bit at the start when we did the breathing?
Yeah.
And we let everything go, and then we connected to the feeling of dynamic stillness. That is coming into alignment, isn't it? That's representative. And I call the vortex that dynamic stillness state. That state, if you can connect to it now, maybe you can. Like where you just, maybe you need to close your eyes or something to get to it. But just feeling that inner body feeling, that's the vortex for me. For me.
I think it's all the same thing. Everyone has like a different label or a word for it. But yeah, it's interesting that you said you used to be scared of silence. I did too.
Yeah, maybe in one of the videos. I did used to be scared. After the Kundalini awakening happened, in 1 second, my ego was gone and I was left in this dynamic stillness, silence. But I wasn't comfortable with it, and I was like, "Shit, I'm scared." Like, what I knew to be me, meaning the ego, was gone, and now I'm here in this silence, which is very unsettling because I'm talking about something separate because you were talking about being in silence with each other at the start.
Yeah. I mean, I was letting you go because I do want to know about the Kundalini awakening too. That's super interesting. I was letting you ride out your vortex.
Yeah, thank you very much for just letting me.
I didn't want to interrupt the flow.
Oh dear. Yeah, I see what you mean. So scared of both silences, you know, scared of not having an ego and then being left in the silence that felt unnatural to me, although it's totally natural. But also, yes, scared to be with people socially in that silence, because why was that silence? Why was that fear of silence coming? It's because I had this feeling of I'm not enough, you know, I need to make myself enough by covering the silence. What if it goes silent and they don't think I'm good enough, or but then we're taking too much responsibility on inside of ourselves, aren't we, for them and their reaction to us, and that's exhausting.
Yeah.
And people then are bound to not like us because we're needy.
Yeah. I went on my first silent retreat in July, and we silently meditated every morning and night. The whole thing was silent, but we got together as a group and meditated in the morning and at night. And during that half hour, it felt like the longest 30 minutes of my life because I was so uncomfortable with being silent. It was the first time I really had to sit with myself and other people around me. And I'm noticing like so many traumatic kind of like PTSD connections. Like, do I feel safe with, you know, I'm by myself. I flew myself to California by myself with people I didn't know. And I could feel that tension. And that's when I know, oh, this is my inner child. Like, this is me being nervous because I don't feel safe. And it's weird how it manifests itself and it pops up many years later. Like, I really thought I was good. I thought I was good to go. And I work with a lot of inner child stuff because I think this whole awakening is just driven from my childhood. And even when I'm doing breathing exercises and meditating, I get a ton of nostalgic childhood memories. The feelings that some of the best times of my life were obviously when I was a kid, when I was free, expressing myself, being creative, dancing, singing, being just like a complete weirdo. And that is still part of me. I'm still like, you can catch me like just, you know, my inner child coming out, but it's also the same part of me that's very nervous around certain people or doubts themselves. Am I good enough? And that's my like parents' voice too. And so it's just me just piecing things together now. Like, this was inside of me this whole time.
This is all borrowed stuff that I've taken from other people, and I don't even believe them really myself. So why am I holding on to them?
Yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. And now, so Like I'm
That's
functioning.
why we do sadhana, though, Patricia. That's why we do sadhana. Do you know what sadhana is?
No, I don't.
Sadhana is your daily spiritual practice to bring about the highest aliveness of intensity and the highest feeling of energy in the system. Because when that happens, the subconscious mind loosens its grip a little bit, and then these things come to the surface for us to be able to heal. Because when they come up, they come out, and then that's it. Job done. See you later.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the purge that we go through the dark night of the soul.
Yeah. I think that's
sadhana just
why
makes it faster.
I think that's why too, like a lot of people ask, when I'm meditating, is it normal when I start meditating that things get worse, or like that I'm crying and things are getting worse? It seemingly is worse, but it's just that things have to come out. And I think it's so important. Like if I feel like I need to cry or or something, I will go meditate and I'll get it out, because I know it happens when I don't. And it just gets worse and worse, and it grows within me. So,
well, that's sadhana too. That's part of sadhana is meditation. So it sounds like you're already doing it, which is great.
Yeah, I still have an offness.
Yeah,
I can't say that I'm definitely a lot better, but there's definitely still a little. I don't know.
That will continue for a bit.
Yeah.
Here's the question that I had earlier that I forgot about. What was your experience in the dark night of the soul? Were you feeling pain? Was there a twisting knot in the belly emotionally, or was there a heart sink? What was it? Where was the localized pain that you felt, or did you? You tell me. I don't know.
If it was a feeling, it's actually a lack of a feeling. I would say for me, it was there was no meaning in anything that I did. And I was searching for a good moment. I'm like, is this what it feels like to be happy? I don't remember anymore. I was constantly searching and trying to grasp. And I think also the what used to be fun for me wasn't me anymore. So when I was engaging myself in activities of like partying and going out, it wasn't working. And I was getting frustrated. And so for the longest time, I just was starting to rebuild myself into a new person and learning, okay, what do I really truly enjoy doing? But it was a lack of meaning, an empty feeling. Yeah. I guess the feeling would be like in my stomach and in my chest, for sure.
Sure, because a lot of people come to me client-wise with that empty feeling, so you're not alone in that. It seems to be a necessary sort of stage in a sense, because without that we don't search for more inside of ourselves. Without that emptiness we don't search for we all say we're curious and that we want to know the nature of the universe, but then we're looking out there for it. Mm-hmm. And that emptiness inside then makes us go, oh shit, yeah, all right, well then let me take care of this. And even if it's unconsciously, when we take care of this, we begin to see, oh, everything I've ever wanted to know is in here. It's never been out there. I can go to drugs, alcohol, and it might soothe things for a moment, but it's not temporary. It's all temporary? Is there something in here that isn't temporary, that's always stable? And then through the dark night of the soul, we begin to see, that dynamic stillness, or that beingness, or that presence, or that vortex, or whatever is always present and is always calm, equanimous, peaceful. And the more time we spend there, then we see, oh, wow, I actually really love this. I can't believe I ever listened to the mind, ever, because it always affects this nice feeling that I am. Yeah.
And it's always there. I had a moment last night reading and I just was aware. I wasn't aware that I was aware that I was aware. It was just, I'm reading. There was no I either. It was just reading.
Yeah, it's just reading.
Yeah.
It's just dancing. We're not the dancer, we're the dance, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So I'm really curious into how I mean, this happened very fast for me. I mean, about a year ago, I was like, it just kind of started, a little over a year. So it's like I went down, and then now I'm like shooting back up and like relearning everything that's really truly me now, what I truly enjoy. And so it happened super fast. So I think I'm just all getting it into all the pieces into a puzzle now. But I wanted to ask, did you experience a lot of dreams during your dark night of the soul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Still do. Every night. They're so vivid. Every night they get more and more real. And it's like, huh? What's going on here? But yeah, why do you ask that?
Because I think mine are lessons and significant. And I was wondering if you believe the same thing, especially repeating ones. And
just before this call at 2 p.m. BST, I had a client. No, it wasn't. It was the one earlier at 11 a.m. She came in and she said exactly what you just said. I'm having these dreams. Yep, having these dreams. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm freaked out. I don't know if it's really cool. What if the universe is teaching me something? And I'm with you. I'm like, yeah, it is. Most of the time it is. And most of the time as well, like the dream states are really set. Like, what do I know? I don't know any of this. It's just what I'm going off of my experience. But for me, like, the dream state is an easier place for us to be able to deal with those wounds that are really lodged down in the subconscious. Because let's say something's really gripped us for years and it's deep wedged into our psyche, but we don't have conscious knowledge of it. Then in the dream it might come up representational of something in the dream, for example, so that when it does come up and then in the waking state we're like, I've seen you, I'm now more ready to deal with this, rather than it being in the waking state. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. I was reading in my book last night that repeating dreams can be a lesson that we're still learning, that we still need to pay attention to, and that's why they are presenting themselves in a repeated pattern. I've been journaling them, and it's not until I go back and I read them that I'm like, oh my God, that was about my dad, or oh my God, that was about this or that, and it's so clear, but like in it you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And I think that's the magic of it. Like I said, it's that softening. It comes in like a way that is not really, really obvious, so that when we're ready to deal with it, or we look back and we see, I learned that lesson in that dream even. I've made that healing in the dream, so that when it came up here, I look at it again and I'm like, oh, wow, I have a totally new perspective on that. And now there's new energy inside of myself. I feel like I've accomplished something in a way that was way less painful than it could have been, because it came up in the dream state, not real life.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. Have you ever had some
weird? This is all weird.
It is weird. Hey, here's my question for you. What have you found about old friends? Do you still keep in contact with old friends that you've had before the awakening experience, or do they all think that you're batshit crazy like most of mine?
I still am in contact with some high school friends. I'm learning that, catching up with them, it's just not the same.
I get what you mean.
It's just not the same. I wanna be talking about other things. I want to be doing
dreams and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like talking to some of my old friends, they're like, yeah, you always used to talk about dreams. You always used to be very like philosophical, but the whole spiritual component kind of just. So I guess it was in me. It was almost like a prep. Like, do you think that there was now this is me going off my own thing, but do you think, looking back, when your dark night of the soul happened, was there a prep? Like, was there something going on before it happened, the awakening?
Yes, breakup with an ex-girlfriend that I had treated like shit.
Yeah.
And the guilt of that then led me to a moment of I can't deal with this anymore. I'm going to have to drop it all. Dropped it all. Weirdly, said the Lord's Prayer. I'm not Christian either, and just said it. And then, I know. And then just this energy blasted all the way through my system, and then the ego was gone. And I was like, this is what I'm here for. Oh shit. Wow. What on earth was that? This is better than any drug I've ever touched. And then after that, my consciousness expanded in every single direction, and almost like a sphere, and then almost whisked me off my feet. I was like, whoa, almost fell over with this amazing joy.
Jealous.
And I'm like, no, don't be jealous. See, this is why this is probably my ego talking, you know. I probably need to curb it, you know, because it's like, I love talking about it because it's so interesting.
Oh, I don't shut up about mine. Everyone knows about my darkness. So I'm like, guys, you don't understand. This happened that I felt like this. But I didn't have, I don't know if, is a Kundalini awakening where you feel the energy going up your spine? Because I didn't have that experience. I just had the dark night, and then I kind of rebuilt myself.
Not everybody does.
But I'm waiting for it's almost like I am waiting for my own moment.
Don't put a goal on it, because if it's your destiny, it's your destiny.
Right.
If it's not, then perhaps you've got the slower path. Regardless, the slower path is not the right way.
No, I know what you mean.
Because sometimes it can be the faster path to go the slower way. Because somebody who's had a fast awakening then gets really arrogant about it and thinks all of the job's done. Oh gosh, I'm basically the Messiah. Let me walk through it, you know. And it's not like that at all. Because then you come back and you crash, and that's then what caused my dark night of the soul.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's
Why
interesting.
I had a peak experienced and then a deep dark night of the soul. In fact, I'm lying. The first dark night of the soul wasn't that dark.
You had multiple?
The first dark night of the soul was the emptiness, that feeling of emptiness. And then I had to find a way to connect with myself and find that inner connection so that I didn't feel so empty. That was my first dark night of the soul. And then life got normal again. I was doing my practice every day, and I started feeling good again. I'm like, wow, yeah, I'm getting this. And then, boom, second dark night of the soul. I don't want to scare you with that. And then that was that one really, like, totally unconscious. And I say this because people might experience it, and I know some do. Totally unconscious pain that would make you feel sick to the stomach, every knot in the belly, almost bring away all of your life energy and bring you to your knees, kind of thing. That was the second dark night of the soul. I don't wish that on anyone, but I do, because that will change you in ways that are so profound that it's really a blessing. It doesn't feel like it, but it's the best. It's like a baptism of fire.
Yeah. How do you feel now?
Not like that.
Good.
So I go through. I've never experienced that again. One day it just stopped, and then that was that, and I've never touched it again inside of myself. Thank God.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
But how do I feel now? Well, so dynamic stillness, that the vortex, is my natural state of being. It's everyone's natural state of being, but we fool ourselves into thinking with the mind, you know. But for now, within reason, most of my dark karma in my mind has relaxed into the beingness. The ego's been integrated somewhat into the feeling of beingness. So I'm more of a feeling being than a thinking being. I'm more of a human being now than a human thinking, like the rest of the world, if that makes sense. Which is the best and most natural process. Now, does that mean that my ego doesn't come back in? No, it does. Does that mean I'm not an absolute cheeky rascal once in a while? No, I am. Do I still do stupid things? Yes, I do.
Yes,
I do. Do I still party? Do I still party once in a while? Well, I've lessened it a hell of a lot, and it's very rare I even get an invite anymore, because they know that I can't drink anymore.
Yeah.
But I still get invites once in a while. Sometimes I'll say no, and sometimes I will go just for that social aspect, you know. And I will have a drink or two or three or six. Online, and then I'll regret it in the morning. But you see the process, the change from that unconscious pain to what's really a natural pleasant feeling.
Just flow.
It It is flow, and that
Mhm.
flow is created by constantly being connected to the vortex or to the dynamic stillness. And when we're not connected, just noticing, oh yeah, I've done that again, and then realigning ourselves with it, because this feeling is God's gift. I hope you're okay with that terminology. It doesn't
Yeah.
even need to be that terminology, but it's God's gift to everyone. You
Yeah.
know, we didn't do anything for this natural state of being of peace and joy. It's always here, and whether we access it or not is up to us. It's a choice. Do we like fear in the mind? Well, if we do, we can go to it. Do we like peace? Well, we say we like peace, but really we're quite addicted to fear a lot, especially in this time right now.
Mhm.
And I just refuse to be a part of that fear anymore.
Yeah. I'm struggling with like routine and that's when the ego starts getting in the way. Well, you should have meditated today. You should have went for a run today. And then when I don't, I feel like shit. And it's
and then we go and do the silly things like going drinking, go and get a Chinese chow mein or whatever, and eating really shitty food. And that's the thing. The ego's so crafty, isn't it? Because now it's a spiritual ego. It's saying you should have done your spiritual practices. You're no good.
gotta get rid of that guy.
Well, we got to integrate it. I don't know whether making it the enemy is the best option, because then we're still separated, aren't we? But who knows? Yes. I don't know what works for you.
No, you're right.
But where was I going with that? Can't remember. Yeah, but now it's using that I'm not good enough belief with a spiritual context, isn't it? So it's still an ego. It's the same thing. It's just changed its cloak. It's got dressed up as a clown rather than, a dog. I don't know. It's a silly analogy, but it's the same ego, just a different thing.
It's funny you say it that way, because I feel like sadness and the fear that I alternately experience, sometimes I'll have more. I'm not depressed anymore, thank God. But now I'm just dealing with like anxiety or like even existential anxiety, like, why are we here? It's a little freaky.
And that's good though. That's good to experience that, because then that'll drive you deeper, even deeper.
I mean, it's forcing me to do these things now, so it's right. Insane. But it's the same energy. I don't know if you feel the same way, but the sadness for me, that ball of energy that made me feel down, it's just in a different form. But it's the same energy that also makes me scared. It's the same thing. It's driving me the same positive route spiritually, but it just has a different look or a different taste on it. The sadness and the fear it's all the same ball of energy. It's teaching me the same thing. It's all here for the same reason, but it just comes out in different forms as nervousness. Sometimes it comes out as like depression or sadness.
And you know what's the biggest thing that I've had to learn in this journey is that even the sad things, things that we would call lower vibration, maybe we use that technology, are equal to those feelings that are higher vibration. There is no difference between a good feeling and a sad feeling. There is
the same intensity.
In our preference, but you're right in what you say. It's the same energy that fuels it. Our energy, our beingness fuels either this positive emotion or this negative emotion, this positive tendency or that negative tendency. And we can keep trying to scrub away the tendencies. But I think it was Matt Kahn described it this way. Have you ever heard of Matt Kahn?
No.
Great spiritual teacher. Follow him on Instagram. He's great.
Okay.
He wrote something on Instagram the other day. He said, the spiritual awakening journey is like scrubbing a mirror. We do all of this work to try and get rid of all of our bad habits, and then we finally look in the mirror and see that the mirror is still blurry. There's still blotches of dirt on the mirror that we can never, ever get rid of. And then we take a step back and look and see that these blotches, these tendencies, these emotions, these sadnesses are just here in the mirror to reflect back to me who I really am in my essence, which is eternal, the one watching these things, the one interacting with these things.
Have you ever heard of Muji?
Yes, I've been to one of his satsangs in India.
That's on my bucket list. I want to see him. He was referring to somebody else, but he says it's like knocking on the door, trying to get inside, and then the door opens and you've been knocking on the inside the whole time. And that's like exactly, kind of what you're saying, you're like, oh, it's still there. Yeah, because
even this is still the self that I am.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice talking to you. This is all really awesome. I manifested this.
I don't know whether that's a good manifestation or a bad manifestation. Well, thanks, Patricia. I'll see you later.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.